Homestead Reptile. Today I want to talk to you guys about a kind of a big situation going on the snake community right now, especially the different snake Facebook groups. So I keep garter snakes. I don't really feed rodents. I have no horse in this game. Don't really. It would affect me more if it was crested gecko food, which it's not. It doesn't affect my stuff. So a few weeks ago, someone posted in one of the main snake groups. I believe it was the milk snake group, milk and corn snakes, that they're a lot of the large rodent companies get a lot of their rodents from China. So this would be American Rodent Supply, Lean Labs, Rodent Pro, Big Cheese, that they get a ton of their rodents from China. So instead of just trusting this info, I decided I'm going to go and do my own deep dive. I'm going to Google it. I'm just going to look up where the rodents are coming from. So, and I also looked at each individual website to see if they would say where the rodents are coming from. And there was only one that said where the rodents are coming from. And I'm kind of disappointed that the other ones aren't being clear with the information. So, American Rodent Pro is completely supplied from China. They say they are a supplier, they get their rodents from China, and then they sell them to keepers. Then we have Lean Labs. Lean Labs breeds their own rodents in the United States, but they are also supplemented from rodents from China. Rodent Pro is also supplemented from China, and Big Cheese is supplemented from China. So that's what that is in a nutshell. And as I looked at all the websites, again, there was only one of these places that said where they got the rodent from, and that's Lean Lab. So Lean Lab said they bred the majority of their rodents in the United States, and they had a lot of other prey animals. So they had guinea pigs, they had day-old chicks, they had quail, rabbits. I think that was it. But all that other stuff was bred in the United States. So why does it even matter if they're supplying keepers with rodents that come from China? It's a cheaper product. It's cheaper for you. It's all a win-win. So this is why it could kind of matter to you. So the fact that it's a tiny bit dishonest. So the fact that you have to do a separate Google search. You can't just go to the website and see where the rodents come from, except for that one company. And I had to search it out myself. It's like, okay, so these rodents are not bred in the United States. The majority of them are coming from China. So that's a little deceitful. It'd be like if you opened up a bag of dog food and you look on the bag and it doesn't say where the dog food was made at, where it came from. You wouldn't like that. You would want to know where the dog food came from, where it was manufactured at. And that's for a reason. So there in the dog world and cat world, there was a huge incident with melamine. So in 2007, a lot of dog food manufacturers were in China, and melamine was added to the feed, killed a lot of dogs. You can look it up. I'll leave links too, but killed a lot of dogs. A lot of dogs had kidney failure, died later on. They don't actually know how many dogs died because it wasn't just multiple brands that were hit, like one or two. It was dozens of brands, from cats to dogs. Anything that ate protein, animal protein, got hit, and it was bad. In 2008, you'd think they learned that melamine is dangerous. The melamine baby food incident. Now, this was a purposeful thing. There was a little mini documentary about it. There's a ton of info on it. So melamine was purposely added to the baby food formula because it was a cheap fake protein. But what melamine does is it messes with your kidneys. You have kidney failure and then you die. And there's like a lot of other side effects. It's deadly. 2013, the dried chicken jerky incident. Lots of pets died. Kidney illnesses, failure, dead pets. So melamine is a tricky thing. So melamine is not meant to be consumed. It's a chemical compound that is really used for papers, plastic, and foodware. Melamine contains a high level of nitrogen, and nitrogen mimics protein. So when you're doing your normal food test to see if the food is safe, it has this amount of protein, everything on the packaging is correct, your standard tests would think melamine is protein. So your normal average tests. And people back in that time weren't testing for melamine because they wouldn't think anyone would purposely add melamine to food because it's known not to be food safe. It's known to, they knew they had these problems, but they added it into the food because it was cheaper than plant or animal based protein. It was cheaper for them. There was like some bad stuff going down with melamine, and that's just a small sample of bad food safety. And it's sad and it's really disgusting. But if they don't care about more important things, babies, or dogs, not and the likelihood that they wouldn't like um, feed the rodents a food that might be have remnants of melamine in it because it's cheaper than plant or animal based proteins, we just don't know. You wouldn't think the baby food thing would have happened, but it did. So that's just something to keep in mind, and why I'm always worried about food for pets coming from China. I personally will not feed my dogs anything that comes from China. I wouldn't knowingly feed any of my reptiles anything that comes from China. It's just, it's too big of a risk for me, and they've been shown to be untrustworthy when it comes to food safety. That's just what I think. Now, I don't care if the food comes from another country that has great food safety, then I don't care. It's just the fact that it's from a country that has very poor food safety. And it's really well known. I will leave the information in the description. You guys should look up this one YouTube channel. Great information on this stuff. She did a whole little podcast on the baby food incident in China, rotten mango. So I'm going to leave that in the description. But again, that's where it gets tricky because maybe the rat breeder or mice breeder themselves don't know there's melamines in their food. And the food distributor for the rodents, they add melamine because they want to skimp on it. It's cheaper. It happens. It happens a lot, people. So again, take this with whatever you want. Either use a cheaper product and maybe nothing will ever happen to your pets. Maybe nothing, but then something might one day end up happening to your pets. You just never know. It's the fact that there's the lack of transparency. And I hate it when things aren't transparent. If the companies that do supply their rodents from China just said our rodents come from China right on their website, then I really wouldn't care. I was like, you take the risks. But again, that's just what I think, and it's based on a bit of fact and a bit of just being a caring pet keeper. These guys are my pets. I love my little dudes, and again, I don't feed rodents, so I'm trying to think of it in a way of like if I knew a Chris gecko diet I really loved, started getting was being processed in China, I wouldn't like it. I would stop buying that brand immediately. I just would. It's just too much of a risk. And again, tell me what you think in the comments. There's more bad food safety stuff from China than just these 3 instances. These were the biggest ones that we know of, but there's a lot and a lot of them.